G'day, Blakes and Sheilas. How are we today? All you wonderful freedom people out there, supporting freedom, fighting for freedom, and most of all, loving freedom. Sips to you. Tasty beverage. I see everybody's loving the length of the intro. I should make it longer. Yeah? Is that where we're going? Harps, good to see you there. First, as always, 15 minutes early. I love the dedication to punctuality. Rex, definitely for you. I'm going to have to make it at least another 5 minutes. I mean, you see shows like, Redacted, various other ones. They got like 20 minutes, 15 minutes sort of intros and stuff like that, to let people come into the room, sort of get there, make sure we get people live and ready to go. It's supposed to be a courtesy thing so that people actually have time to drop in. So I'm sorry for those of you who are dedicated and turn up and have to watch the intro. Oh God, it's horrible. I spent a bit of time making that. I didn't use AI. That's handcrafted. Come on, bit of respect, people, please. Anyway, look, it's been another one of those amazing weeks with all sorts of weird ass shit happening. But we might talk about that more on a Sunday show. Coffee for now, rightio. I can't do that stuff, so drinking mud for me. But that's each to their own. Alrighty then. Well, look, we'll rip right into it. We'll bring Jody in. G'day, Kerry. How are you? G'day, Jody. How are you, brother?
Hey, mate. How you going?
Yeah, not too bad. Should probably let the audience know that we've got a bit of a lag issue here. So we may have a little bit of overlapping weird shit happening from time to time as we attempt to deal with that. But we'll see how we go. I'm sure we can work our way through it. It's not the first time that we've had these kind of technical issues, but that's live television for you, ladies and gentlemen. So, Jody, I understand, mate, we've got a new website going. The Bush Life Balance is the one I've got up. I noticed you've got the wow factor .earth. Are they linking to the same thing, or is there something different going on there?
Yeah, no, they all sort of link. I used to talk about it all the time, saying that we had a view to sort of help re-educate ourselves and rebalance ourselves, spiritual, physical, intellectual, financial, and emotional. And what that looked like as I was sort of testing the water myself, going through all the shit that I've been going through, and finally sort of eventuated. But we have to have a private members association too. So the private members association is the Bush Life Balance. Basically, that's where we sort of control our private side outside of the public realm. So basically that is a PMA, a private members association for the members' privileges. So you go in there, $1 annual membership, and that down the bottom of that, if you scroll up a little bit, bro, you'll see there's links keep going down the bottom. You'll see there's keep going to the bottom, bro.
All the way.
Thanks. Yeah. No, sorry.
Too far?
Yeah,
we'll get there.
Just there, mate.
All right. There,
it's all good. Yeah, so that's so they're the four projects that we've got running in there. That's what we're sort of doing for, I spend most of my days listening to people tell me that I'm divisive and all those sorts of things, and I'm like, yeah, sure. You do your Facebook thing. I'll build the communities of people that are actually willing to find remedy and sort of work together. So obviously we put a couple of thousand square meters of our front of our property up and made a community farmer garden last year. So that's one of the projects there, but that's sort of locally to where we live. We're hoping to sort of replicate it as it gets bigger and that sort of stuff. Because people are going to need to start growing some food. People are going to need to start, getting their communities actively, canning and preserving and working together, because things are going to get tight for a while. Average AF is the sporting app. The next one along is the sporting app. We release that next week. So that's my little baby that I built and rolled out during COVID. It is it's a community short sport community app, and it's free. And so it was designed back then to stop all the divisiveness, people to people, like black, white, tall, short, fat, skinny, trans, straight, fucking Muslim, Christian, Jew, everything that they want to use to divide us, Indigenous, not voice, all the voice voting, fucking Labor, Liberal, anything that they can to Palestine, fucking Iran, all the different things that they've got dividing us. The one thing that had always brought us back together was a bit of sport. And so I built an app to roll out back then, and it was all about fun in the sun with your friends and family. And it came out right at the time of COVID, said get back inside, double mask, get your pharmaceuticals and your alcohol, and just go back inside. So it's like the working on Wellness Factor is one that I've got underneath my name, mate, and that's where the events calendar and directory sort of is. So we sort of went, well, where do we start to stream to? Where do we where do we educate ourselves? Where do we get away from the scroll? Because I've as much as I've been traveling around the country, I went over and did a stint in WA, interviewed a heap of the common law sheriffs over there, a heap of people that were getting claimed to be sovereign citizens, a couple of people that have gone through Supreme Court. I did the FUCCP rally last year from Cairns down to Canberra, and everywhere along the way I sort of started calling out the gatekeepers who love to keep us as dumb as possible and as emotionally triggered as possible. They're constantly just telling you the same thing over and over again. And I realized after a couple of years of listening to it that I don't learn anything. I haven't learned any rights. I didn't understand any of the court process, common law, constitution, that sort of stuff. And so if COVID came along again tomorrow, I'd be in the same boat where I'm just yelling at them, this isn't fair. And I wouldn't even be able to sort of quote any constitutional legislation to sort of push back on them. So inside of that working on Wellness Factor, we've reached out to all of the remedy groups and so many people that were unable to continue in their profession. There's so many nurses, so many practitioners of health and wellness in the main system that couldn't go back. So many teachers. And so I built a company out of it, basically trying to get all of what we do. Sorry, mate, I'll go. Trying to get everything that we do in the remedy. Got me?
Yeah. Have a go again. Sorry, the signal is really bad today. Yeah, obviously
that's okay. I get heavily trolled. I get trolled. I get AFP'd. I get all ASIO'd. I love it. It's all good.
It's a sign of endearment, I think. I'd like to give a bit of a shout out to the trolls. Thanks heaps, guys. Like, you guys really did some wonderful work the last time you all banded together and inspired me. And I used a little short clip from the wonderful work that you guys inspired me to do, and it was a really big hit. So thanks heaps, guys. Keep up the good work, trolls. Cheers.
The amount of people, what really gets me with the amount of trolls that we get over here is it shows me just how many grown men are living with their mums, in the mum's basement, So if that's not worth fighting for this country, to get grown men back out of their mums' houses so their mum can, have their OnlyFans account in peace. That's what I need to say about that. So thank you, trolls. I really do appreciate it. Look forward to having your mum, not have you, not have you in their house while they're trying to get railed for money. So, but yeah, it's a quite funny one, right? Because I'm this is a good show for that, in the afternoon. So. They're probably, I don't know whether, are they coming through from yours or they're coming through from my side? Like, I don't know. Most of these names I don't know.
It looks like a bit of a combination from what I can see.
All good. They get bored pretty quickly. So,
yeah, I mean, short attention span. That's why they never learned anything in the first place, and they don't comprehend what's really going on.
Well, it's also, but this is the point, right? This is also why we built the website. We built the website so that we can concentrate, right? So we can have a concentrated conversation with it. Because even when I'm sitting there, even when I'm sitting over there doing lives and that sort of stuff, and as much as they don't distract you or whatever like that, it's distracts the other people in the comments. So a lot of the times I'll be sitting there doing a whiteboard on Constitution or something like that, and then the guys will be over there going, talking shit and coming around, blah blah blah, and I'll be like, guys, like if you aren't here to listen to what I'm saying, why do you even come? Why even come on? Like, you know what I mean? Like, go and have a conversation like together on the messenger. And I'm not saying don't have a conversation, but I'm saying it's it's always good to watch. It's always good to watch them then do what they do, but it's distracting, right? So I built the website for that. There's like 100 of them that have tried to get into the there's 100 of them that tried to get into the back end of the website, and and it's like you can just see them there everywhere. In the back of the website trying to get in there. And it's like, well, that's what it's for, right? We want to be able to build somewhere where we can learn and educate and, do what we're doing. So.
Yeah, exactly, man.
I think Mick Landers is for real. Hello, Mick. Hello, Michael Landers. He said Aramac 4726. So I think he's legit because I was born in Buckle and lived in Aramac. So.
Rightio.
Anyway, they're the projects.
I'll pop that wow factor in and we'll have a look at that then, eh?
Yeah. It's all good, man. I'm just shooting shit.
All right. So obviously this is the other one. So this one is it's got a sign-in feature, but this is not the pay-to-play version. This is the free sort of adventure. Is that correct?
No, you won't get in there unless you've got the BLB membership.
Okay, cool.
I've got screen share. Can you let me? I'll share screen if you want.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I did sign up to one of these a couple of weeks ago when we first had a yarn, but I had to reset before we started, so I didn't get a chance to re-sign in.
No, that's all good.
Yeah.
So basically, what you'll see, it's even logged me out. Oh no, there you go. I'm back in. So look, the goal of this is to start getting people to look after themselves under those 5 principles. Basically telling people that you're never going to be able to retain the information that you need to fight back against this system if you don't start working on yourself. Even the best and the top tiers of the freedom groups, that are out there coordinating all the time. And me and you, we talked about this the other day with your back. It's like the time for ignoring the trauma, the energy, the shit that we've been through is gone, and it will manifest itself whether you like it or not. And so we believe physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, and financial. You have to get yourself in balance. If you don't, it's going to come and kick you in the ass, and you're not going to be able to do what you've been doing. And so we were like, right, well, how do we do that? So we've asked everybody to come forward and start putting in events in the calendar where they, where they do their different, either modalities or remedies or whatever. So, you'll see, you might see yoga, a breathwork session on a Monday morning. You might see a trust formation session on a Tuesday. On a Wednesday might be the Commonwealth custodians talking about the new de jure government. Thursday might be a Terra Australis talking about what it is that they're doing with their national assemblies, all the assemblies that they got popping up. Friday might be common law sheriff, doing the common law sheriff training to help you understand. Saturday might be an in-person event, for one of my games in the app at your local sporting club, for free under the thing. The goal is to actually start to try and plan our week out, where our time is available and what we're going to watch, so that we're not just sucked into the endless scrolling and streaming. Now, don't get me wrong, I get 5 million views a month over on social media. So, I'm quite happy to be out there sort of finding the people, sorting the wheat from the chaff of the people who actually want to do something, about the problems. But yeah, basically that's it. So I haven't got such a streaming setup yet, like for yourself, but basically, anybody that's got a streaming link that has a program that is, sort of looking towards educating people more than just entertaining them. I'm still sort of deciding whether or not to go down that path for whether we just have shows for the sake of shows. Obviously, you've done a lot of shows over the years that I've learned a lot from with different people that you've had on, particularly like the red flag. But basically, you can see that meeting link there. So if you're a group coordinator or anything like that you have regular meetings, could be men's health, women's health, could be Country Women's Association, for all I care. If it's good for the people and it's not Western-based medication based on big pharma, big business, we want to know what you're doing to build community and to build unity. So you can do it in person, put it in the map, or you can do it online and then just punch, like tonight, for example, you'd be able to punch that StreamYard code in there, and you'd be able to stream to a slot in that calendar. In the directory, we're going to be building the directory of people who offer services to exchange with the members based on those principles again. So, you might find people that in there that sell crystals, people that sell the patches, people that sell nicotine patches, people that sell moringa tablets, people that, massage therapists, kinesiologists. We'll slowly but surely sort of fill that up with everything that people offer that are sort of alternate to the mainstream. And look, and the only reason it is built that way is because I've got the leverage that they don't. I know what it costs to run a website and SEOs and search engine, the search engine optimization and all of the shit that's in the background of it. It is incredibly difficult to keep the site up and running. Man, it's wild how much you got to do in the background for these things. And I just like to be able to point people to a single spot, because at the moment you go to the first pinned post on my page and it's like, holy shit! Like I've got, there's WA Common Law Sheriffs, Commonwealth Custodians, Terror Australis, Warriors at Law, the Living Council, the Lip Life team, the Anti-Corruption Academy, and the Corruption Whistleblower are just the name of the few people that I've used over the years to understand remedy, common law, constitution. There's just so much to take in, and so many places that everybody that reaches out to me, they're like, oh man, I've got a problem with fines. And I'm like, oh, look, go to Aussie Speeding Fines or the Know Your Rights group and start the process there. Oh, listen, mate, I own my house and I want to get off the ship. Cool. You go to Terra Australis and they're like, oh, I've got a problem with, the courts and the council or something. Cool. Go to Lip Life, go to liplife.online, and they will be able to give you a pre-made rebuttal sort of thing. But the biggest thing for us is just making sure that we stay conscious in the moment of what we are doing too, because so many people lose themselves in this battle, right? They end up becoming the very enemy. They end up becoming the very enemy that they were looking to defeat. That's my biggest thing that I have at the moment arguing with.
Oh, we've lost him. We are having technical difficulties again, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for that. We've lost Jody for a moment. I'm sure he'll be back. Hopefully the connection will be a little bit stronger. So, I've had a bit of a look at this website. It looks pretty good so far. And, what Jody's saying there, trying to bring everything together seems to be the fundamental principle here. Here he is. He's back again. Sorry, mate. It's, one of them nights. All the trolls have sucked up the bandwidth, I guess.
Fun fact about trolls, I worked out the other day that two half-wits don't make a full one. So there's it's not an even equation when they're out there. So it sort of deregulates that 1-1-0-0-1 when you've got all these half fuckwits out there. Like,
yeah, it's just like two wrongs don't make a right,
That's correct, mate. So just a fun fact in case you didn't know that about the fucking and the saddest part about trolls, and I don't want to give them too much time, but the saddest part about trolls is that before we had so much, before we hit that $1 trillion worth of debt, when the government was really paying some high quality money for these people, you could see some really good trolling. I mean, they were really good with taking the piss and taking pictures and turning it into something fun, but for the most part, the budgets have been cut. Probably some of the big names, out there are getting all the high level trolls, and we're just getting the fucking dud leftovers, the fat reserve grade troll. You know what I mean? Like, just shows up on the day of the game because the fucking bus broke down or something, pulls the socks on, can't barely get their shorts up, just useless fat trolls that, aren't really good at what they do. So, there was some fucking quality trolls about a year ago, but, obviously, like they say, we're not worthy of the good trolls, but I'm like, well, that's kind of a reflection of just how fucking useless you are as the troll, in the troll world yourself. So.
That's it. We start starting to feel our age at this point. Well, trolls were a lot better back in my day.
Back in my day, trolls were fucking real. We were talking about it today. I was laughing because I flew on my own money, my own time to Western Australia to give the people that were getting smashed by the courts and that over there some love. They deserve it, and make sure that all of their videos were taped in person, not online, so they couldn't do what they're doing here, which is glitching and carrying on. And there's no trolls involved because we're there. I really wanted to concentrate and give them the time because boy, oh boy, man, these people are fucking fighting some horrendous fucking conditions over there. And you've got not only like trolls are trolls, right? They're just bored, sad, mentally ill people that fucking have got nothing better in their life to do than this. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here, right? They're certainly not out at the pub picking up a Sheila or having some fun. They're probably on NDIS for fucking just about guaranteed they'll be on NDIS or something. Meaning that they don't want this system to fall over because it funds them, funds their fucking lifestyle of fucking fibromyalgia or some shit. That I shouldn't say that because there are some real people like my daughter that has a problem. But
No, I know what you mean. And I think that's, unfortunately one of the side effects of the, the welfare system is, those people out there that are milking it and they're just happy to sit there. It's like an episode of Houseos or something, It's, it's sad, and you can't help but feel sorry for these people if they weren't such a pain in your ass, but, pimples have got to be popped and the pus has got to be removed. So
hurt people, bro. That's the way it works, right? If you're in pain and you don't
misery loves company.
And that's like I get it. As much as I like to take the piss and have fun, I do understand that somewhere behind them is probably a sad, traumatized person, right? That's the funny thing is like people are always like, you're building a mental health company and this is the way you talk to people with mental illness. And I'm like, I didn't say I was a fucking counselor. I'm not a fucking counselor. I'm not here to save you. I'm trying to save myself, man. Like I'm trying to save myself and actually take a breath. Take a breath in between what we're doing here to try and get this country back to something that's, manageable for the future, for our future generations, right? I was like everybody else, apathetic and lazy and just didn't take any notice of politics or didn't understand legislation, knew nothing about my rights, and, just another apathetic dick that wasn't doing anything to, I was looking for what can my country do for me all the time, not what can I do for my country. And I realized I'd let my granddad down, let my granddad down, let my family down. I was a provider, not a protector. And when COVID took that away from me, I realized pretty quickly that I was only able to provide whatever they were able to let me provide. And that was a level of shit that I did not want to do. You know what I mean? And so now I know that I'm a protector, because if they take my providing ability away from me with another mandate or something like that, doesn't matter. I'm able to protect my family. I've got my shit ready. I've got my food, my water, my gas, my fuel, getting my gold, my silver. I can say no wholeheartedly, knowing that I'm not about to lose everything immediately, because I didn't, that I let them get one up on me during COVID, and I won't ever let them do it again. So, and all I want for people out there is the ability to learn peacefully, collectively with people who give a shit, and that's why I built the website. If it doesn't get any traction, it's no skin off my nose. This is like, people want things to fail all the time so that they can laugh and mock that it failed. And I'm like, I don't care. It's not the success of that thing isn't the success of me. The success that I had 12 grand left over in my bank account to put it towards something that will help you is what it's for. If it fails, I don't give a shit. It's just money. We'll make some more. Do you know what I mean? Like I was getting mocked the other day because I put $80,000 into that app. 5 years ago, I put 80 grand into building that app, and I had it ready to roll out at the BMA corporate level. They had allowed me, because I had 3 other mental health projects that were going gangbusters that I'd done for free. And so I was like, well, I've got the leverage now. I'm going to build this app that I wanted to do for community sports. Built the fucking thing, and then they mandate. I walk away from my job, and they cut all ties to me in the BMA world for all my mental health projects, like all of them, even the fucking free ones. I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? They're all about fucking saving people's lives and are you okay and all this fucking woke virtue signal and bullshit, and they don't give a fuck. They're just ticking people that think that it's better to ask if you're okay. And I'm like, no. I'll show you. I'll just show you something if that's all right, because this is sort of leading the conversation. Inside that website, there's a thing called our philosophy, and I'll just go back to share now that I've got that page up. I'll piss off. That one. So our philosophy, right, starts with this. On the left-hand side of that picture is free will, right? And that's what. So I work in risk in mining. I do a lot of risk-based stuff with underground mining, and free will is where we get to choose how we connect with our land, spiritual, how we treat our body and what we put into it, physical, what we absorb or what we observe for intellectual. Whether we have delayed gratification and understand our monetary, worth in financial, and whether we're really willing to connect into what our body is feeling and have the time to recognize it in emotional. That's the free will side of a preventative strategy. Holistic wellness sits in the middle. And if you look at the reactive side, the mitigating side, that's where the government and the power of the bureaucrats sits. That's what you've already gone past. So you've already had problems with your wife. She's either left you and you're at a marriage counselor. You've got caught for doing something that you didn't understand in your business, or you were fraudulent. You're at a lawyer. You wait till the end of the financial year and you go to your accountant. That's the wrong time. You know what I mean? You wait till you're sick and your body's got a disease or a disease, as we call it, and you end up at a doctor at a hospital. You wear your mind out too much and you end up a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Once you end up on that side of the mitigating strategies, where we're trying not to lose you, trying not to have you die, it is very hard to get out of that because you have been saved. And once you're put into savior mode, it's really, really hard to break that savior syndrome, right? Because you already didn't choose to use free will to get yourself in balance in the first place. So then it's even harder to get yourself back into balance after you've been, medication. So I let myself fail to the point where, I was mentally done. I was ready. I was looking over the edge and the only option I thought I had was suicide. I had worked myself and ground myself, to a halt. And I thought to myself, every person would be better off with me dead. And so they'll be financially better. They'll be stressed. They'll be better. I just couldn't live another day like that. And so then they gave me medication. They gave me an antidepressant, and that gave me back enough slowed my brain down enough for me to sort of grasp reality to go, oh, fuck, my kids, I got 4 daughters. They can't, I don't want them to live a life without me or live a bad life because of my loss, And so it gave me enough rational thinking to slow me down enough to go, right, well, what the fuck am I going to do? I'm going to have to reset this shit, right? I'm going to have to pull myself back. But that small tablet, that medication, I've had that for 4 fucking years. And they say, I don't need it. They're like, I take that sort of a tablet. It's just a safety blanket for me. But that's how hard it was for me to work my way back from tablet to small tablet to less tablet to every couple of days, to the point where I'm barely able to, get rid of it. But you imagine that with real psychosis drugs. You imagine that when you really do harm to yourself. You imagine that when you don't have a perfect life like I have. Like, I have got a fantastic life. I've got a fantastic wife. Got a great mum. I've got healthy children. I've got a high-paying wage in the mining industry. And my body for nearly 50 is functioning okay. I have never had any real disease or anything like that. Knock on wood. I've had only injury, right? And so if that's with a privileged life what I've got, if I can get to the point of nearly suicidal and then still need that medication, what's a normal person's life that is not as good as privileged as that? How fucking hard must it be for them to pull themselves back from the edge then? You know what I mean? Like, and T2Q2 said, been there, done that, and the system just wants to label you, then link you to the drugs. Absolutely, man. Like, every time I got to do a medical, it's like, oh, you've got to fill in this extra paperwork, and you've got to go and get a special letter to say that you are still mentally fit because you've been on the drugs for a year or whatever. You've got to be mentally fit to do it. And the reality is, it's probably no different to having an arm operation and having to go and get someone say my arm's good to work. It probably is genuinely just me in my own heart space being upset that they're making me do something extra for my brain being broken. But the reality is, if it was a bung shoulder, a bung knee, or a bung back, you would probably still go through the functional testing and need the extra test once you'd identify that you'd had a bung back. So, yes, they are labelled. Yes, there is stigma. But being able to talk about it and joke about it, you know what I mean? Like I joke about it. I lost two workmates last year to suicide. One bloke I did not get along with at all, but we worked together exclusively for a fair while. I was his boss for a long time. And another bloke was a good mate of mine that I worked with for a few years. Both committed suicide last year. Both have 2 or 3 children each. Both leave behind children and a wife, and both had both had over 150, 200,000, salaries, and good lives, and their bodies were working fine. And one was a heavyweight boxer, all the sporting prowess, good money, very intelligent man, and just gone like that, And so I found myself in that realm. When COVID came along, I was researching brain health. When COVID came along, I happened to be on Rogan's podcast, listening to a bloke named Dr. Mark Gordon, who was talking about whiplash brain impact for how it can quickly deregulate your hormone, 5 hormone patterns in your head. And he was working with a lot of PTSD people from percussion from war. Right, just for the percussion side of things. And I'm sitting there at the time. I made a video where I'm like 9 stitches, 4 stitches, 6 stitches, 8 stitches, headbutt, elbow, knee, golf ball, head contact, concussion, fist, knocked out in a fight, fractured eye socket. I'm making a video of my face, going, here's a bloke saying I can get deregulated from whiplash, and I'm wondering why my brain's so out of whack. And I'm literally just looking at all the violent damage that had been done to my head. And I'm like, man, Christ, like that. How do we convince ourselves that the most precious thing that we've got was our brain, right? And we just fucking smash it when we're younger, every way we can. And then after we finish smashing it, we're just smashing it with alcohol, to help that swollen brain recover. So I'm like, man, we've just been led up the garden path. And then the food that we eat, the big food triangle. Anyway, so while I was on Rogan watching that, wasn't a fan of Rogan at all. I just been sent that saying, hey, Jody, you should look at this. It talks about brain science. The next one on was Dr. Robert Malone, 9 mRNA patents, and then Dr. Peter McCullough back to back. And that changed my life, listening to those two things when they were talking about the COVID vaccines. And from that point, I sort of started being a little bit considered conspiratorial, and I'm a dog with a bone. People push on me, I push back. And so I guess probably just from more people pushing back on me saying, oh, just shut up and take the jab, you fuckwit. I was like, fuck you. I won't fucking do what you tell me to do. And then it just went back and forth.
It's more insensitive to not do it when people are fucking pushing you like that. It's just, okay, cool. So you want me to do it? Well, fuck you then. I'm not going to do it.
Someone offered me a free fucking sausage or a free fucking donut to get a fucking medical procedure. I'm like, something fucking stinks, bro.
I mean, to me, it was obvious, but I've been watching these things for so long. Like when I seen it coming, I'm like, finally, this is the one that'll wake them up. And I'm standing there gobsmacked going, what? They're queuing up to get tested for a virus that's so deadly you don't know you have it? Really?
Yeah. And all you've got to do is sit down.
Yeah. Like, It was absolutely mind-blowing. I couldn't believe that people were buying into it as the most obvious fraud I'd ever seen. And I'd say to people, this is the most obvious fraud I've ever seen. It is absolutely painful. Oh, you fucking stupid. People are dying from this. I'm like, Ed, you show me. Come on, guys. Seriously. A virus, it's okay to eat with your mask off if you're sitting down, you know. Or you can have a beer at the bar so long as you're sitting down. You know, what? Yeah. So is that why it doesn't affect 10-year-old kids? They're not tall enough? What the fuck is this shit? Like, how gullible are you? It was absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, and it just got worse. And I mean, like, you can see, you know, around the world, you know, hydroxychloroquine factories, you know, things were going on with them. Ivermectin was getting shut down. Our own doctors were, you know, getting silenced and shut down. And, you know, Hippocratic oaths was thrown out the window. Emergency use authorizations. Sorry, I'm just getting a power pack.
No, you're all right. But on that Joe Rogan thing too, like, I mean, you don't have to like Joe Rogan. I'm not sitting down having a beer with the cunt. Like, I'm watching, you know, to see who he brings on, and I don't watch all the time, but I'll go, oh yeah, I feel like watching something. We'll see who Joe's bloody interviewed these days, because I'm not there for Joe Rogan. I'm there for who he's interviewing more than anything.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you don't have to like the bloke. You know, if he's got good knowledge, he's got good knowledge.
But
you know?
but this is also the mentality of it too, right? I would show up. So for, you know, like, I'm very much one of the most hated people in the freedom movement, because I parted ways with the freedom movement a little while ago, and because I won't tolerate sitting still. I won't tolerate people saying there's a problem and then not changing the ways in which to fight it. Just do the same thing over and over again, asking for a different fucking result is madness. Yes. And so, you know, I was forever bluing with them, and carrying on. And then, I just lost my point because I saw that there was a comment there.
No, that's all. I know what you mean. Like, it's interesting. Like I said, I've been watching this for a long time, you know, and you know what really got, well, not really got me. What I found interesting was seeing people suddenly wake up, and it was a bit of a going back in time for me, because it gave me an opportunity to sort of look through their eyes and see how they were reacting, and, you know, a bit of their journey, and go, oh, so that's where I was at. And okay, so I see them going off about this, that, and the other, and they're really passionate about it. And because it's a new awakening sort of thing, you feel this urge to sort of ram it down everybody else's throats. And you're like, oh, so that's why people didn't want to listen to me. Oh, I get it now. I was coming at it from the wrong angle. And it gave me a really wonderful perspective to be able to sort of go, all right, cool. So we just need to dial it back a little bit and think about, well, how do we get through to this person? And even for the freshly awakened too, people are falling apart and crying and stuff. They couldn't believe the government was doing this to them. And, you know, my words of wisdom were generally like, all right, well, just take a breath, stop and think, and just realize how hard it's been for me to be living for 20 years with all you lot not listening and having no fucking idea, and have to sit here and wait for a day like this for you to suddenly start to see it, you know, and then stop and give a thought to those who still haven't figured it out and are yet still to wake up, and how much harder it's going to be for them later down the track. So, you know, and that really ties into your mental health sort of thing as well. But you've had an epiphany.
Man, I just like I fight with a lot of them that charge for their services for making content. I don't, and the reason being is because there's some people that for 20 years, like yourself, have forged, you know, some of the constitutionalists, some of the common law people, some of the best of the legal beagles in the high courts, and that they have forged through jungles, man, with, you know, with no path there, and chopped away for 20 years, and left me a path for me to follow reasonably easy. So everything that I regurgitate in a layman's form is not my information, not my study, not my work, but it's my interpretation into a layman's form that makes it palatable for the average Aussie. That has been my favorite part of doing this, was because that's just the way I learn. I just learn that way. But the thing that I always found interesting with what you were just talking about, well, I forgot what I was saying before, was that everywhere I went, every freedom group that I got with, I would find people just yelling, just yelling at the mic or just yelling and I was like, well, that guy's just doing this because he's angry. And then I'd say, well, you need to do this, you need to do this. We need to do that. And then they would say no. And I'd say, well, those people are not doing it because they're scared. And so fight and flight, I realized that fight and flight is just anger and fear. When you put it into emotion, right? So fight or flight is anger or fear. And both of them are low vibration, and both of them are the result of listening to too much mainstream media and mainstream social media telling you that everybody's going to die. It's a big death thing. Whether or not things were true, it was affecting the way that people were responding, because once you're in a fight or flight, you're only using your non-rational thinking part of your brain. And so I've seen people for years now, years and years, and I challenge any person that's on here that's not a troll, that's on Facebook, to click on your own page and just be conscious up the top of how many friends you have, right? And the likelihood of that is that 50% or greater of those people have unfollowed you so that they can still be a friend and not offend you, but they cannot see anything you do. Then have a look at how many posts, how many posts you've shared, right? And so for your hard work and all the effort of what you've been watching and learning. And so I've been challenging people on my channel to say, grab one A4 piece of paper and write down some statistical facts and a bit of legislation that you've learnt for the 20,000 posts, because I guarantee you most of you have got 20 or 30,000 posts that you've shared up in that corner. And then just look at how many friends you've got and say you might have 300 friends and you've shared 30,000 posts, and think about that. And think about whether or not you really expected every one of those people to watch every one of those posts because you think you did. But then write down on paper what it is that you can retain from that 30,000 posts. Because I live on fucking social media. I flood social media with videos when in opposition to what I think that they're going to go after. I made 3 videos today, reposted 1 2.5 hour video, but made two videos and did a live this morning for about an hour total about the sovereign citizen shit they're going to run tomorrow night on Channel 7 Spotlight, right? So I'm trying to warm the algorithm up to what will be a big fallout argument about it tomorrow. But I challenge people to write down that one sheet of information about what it is that they know, what they've learnt from all those posts. I have 100,000 followers on Facebook, and I've only got 6,900 posts. I post every fucking day. Tell me why you've got 30,000 posts and can't fill one page full of information. Because you're not using the part of your brain. It's not because you're stupid. It's not because you don't have a brain. It's because you're not using the part of your brain that will actually calmly and rationally decipher the information, absorb what is needed, only observe what isn't, and then throw out the rest, right? And then that information can stay in your head and become part of your core moral, functioning principles and foundation for what it is that you're going to start walking with your talk. Because what we're doing is we're not even able to self-assess ourselves, because up here in the front where we're the victim of foul play, we're just literally screaming at everybody else that you're the perpetrator, I'm the victim, you're the perpetrator. And what we need to do when you're a victim is fuck all, because you're a victim. You just need the perpetrator to stop perpetrating, or if the perpetrator is the government, change the government so that the perpetrator changes. But you, the victim, do not have to change anything. And I realized it was all because of this. And I watched the social media and I watched the media and realized that, holy shit, man, that's what they do. They want that shit that just locked in there, right? They just want that shit locked in so that you don't ever use your rational thinking part of your brain. You know what I mean? Are they going off of it in comments?
A North Queensland Fan Appreciation Society. That's fucking hilarious. So they must have dedicated that page to me. That's a compliment. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Sips. Sips to the tribe.
Nice, mate. Well done.
I'm touched. I didn't realize I was that special, but clearly I am these days. It's always good, to see such fans appreciation in that regard. clearly upsetting somebody. But you know, at the end of the day, I mean, when it comes to retention things too, I think it's important to not overdo it too. You know, to sort of focus in on little bits and sort of make sure you are learning it. You know, it's like, you know, whether you're learning another language, whether you're learning whatever, you know, you don't want to be over the top. And especially when, like you said, coming from that reactive state, you know, it's hard to retain any information. And, you know, I've had a few mental health people sort of come on, and, you know, one of the things that was explained to me is, you know, when people are in that fight, fly, response sort of scenario, and you know, the reptile brain is engaged. You know, the big thing is to try and get that person from that you know, fight, fly response, reptile brain, and bring them back into human brain where they can calmly and rationally look at things. You know, because yeah, like you see, the fight, fly response is one of the systems of control. Keeping people in that state, you know, is how they're keeping you down. You know, you're not able to retain information because the purpose of that mentality, you know, from an evolutionary point of view, is that, you know, you react to an immediate danger, get yourself out of that danger, now reassess and move on. Unfortunately, the other side effect of that is it leaves a scar, a notable scar on the mind, so that should you come across that situation again, well, that got me out alive by doing this, react in the same way again, which can become a bit of a trauma, you know. And one of those, I actually learned it from Scientology about 25 fucking years ago when they attempted to recruit me a long time ago. You know, it was when reading through their material, which I found the material all right. I don't know about the church and the religion itself, but like I said, you don't have to like what it is. Good knowledge, wherever you got it from, you know, you shouldn't let it go to waste.
Yeah. I like, people are flogging me all the time because I've been belting the shit out of Sam Shallow Chow and Punters Politics, because I said, conveniently popped up just before and just after the election to tide us over with mainstream social media, you know, with mainstream media rebundled up as mainstream social media. One on the left, one on the right. Both have started a lobby group. Both claim to have the only citizens lobby group. Both are saying that theirs is the biggest lobby group in the country now for the people. Both are lying. And they may know, they may not know that the Zion influence in the background will promote their, you know, their mainstream narrative. But I've been copping a lot of flack, you know, about that sort of thing. And people are saying, you know, I should go on their show and all these sorts of things. And I'm like, fucking, like you said, you're talking about how long you've been running. And I'm like, but that's it, right? Popular politics is all that's necessary to run popular politics is the media and school. You don't have to talk about anything to do with rights. You don't have to talk about anything to do with constitution, common law. You don't even have to educate yourself. The young Lachlan Lade, the fella that he's the third name in the lobby group, the Australian lobby group. He's a young, probably 26-year-old cane farmer, I think, from Proserpine. He's, you know, ran for a federal seat with the Libertarian Party last year in the federal election. I pulled him up and had a chat to him one day when I met him up at a protest rally for the windmills up here in the mountain ranges, and I just asked him, you know, what he knew about Constitution, and did the same old thing. What part of the Constitution protects us from medical conscription? He's like, fucking wouldn't have a clue. And I'm like, well, how about you do some homework as a young person? Pardon?
Section 5123A.
Thank you. You know how many people answer that? None.
I can't imagine. I mean, again, after tuning into the Know Your Right show like all the time, and obviously I've got the guys on speed dial, like, I mean, that's been programmed. But again, that was out of necessity. So, like, you know, at the time, it's like, well, what do I need right now to defend? I don't need to learn the entire fucking Constitution. I don't need to learn every fucking law in the book, because it's impossible to do so. Even judges can't do that. The judge will go, hang on, I've got to go and consult the law book, you know? So, you know, you just focus in on what you need, you know, at the time. What do I need in my toolbox? You don't go to the job site, bring all the Bunnings with you. You take what you need for the job.
But you also don't build a house, an entire house with just a plumber, right? Yeah. You build a community of builders that are going to do each of the factions that they're good at to build that house. That's what unity is. Unity starts with you, right? And so you've got a very strong connection to all of the people that if you need someone who's good at constitution, you've got one in your group. If you've got someone who's go to court, who can write the documents, who can write an affidavit, who can write a rebuttal, right? You've got that in yourself, because that way you don't need to know everything. You just need to know enough of the people that know the individual pieces of that puzzle so that you get a full picture when you come up against it, right? So that's the other thing that, you know, I literally would be like last year doing the FUCCP rally. You know, I got 50 people in tow with me at one spot. And the Nick, I'm just see that Nick Beck. I just seen that. Nick Beck. Come on, mate. Did I get you earlier today when I asked you that question? You said section 5123B. I see you've changed to the A now.
That's because I just said it.
Come on, Beck. Did you get it wrong with the B, or did you type it wrong? Sorry, I just seen her name and I was like, Nick answered me on my live, I think this morning, and she said B, and I'm like, oh, I think it's A. I don't know if there's a fucking difference. I couldn't tell you. I haven't read it. I haven't read it for that long, but yeah, you're right. But what I'm saying is that I get like I've got 50 people in tow somewhere. I've pulled up to have lunch at Serena. There's probably 100 people standing around there, and I'm getting told, like I'm watching my Facebook, and people are like, "I'm not supporting because Jody's divisive," and I'm like, "Well, can I ask a question of you, person that doesn't like me personally? When there's 100 people that want to see connectivity and unity, whether they like me or not, when you see 100 people there and you see Jody and you say, I'm not taking part with the 100 people because Jody's divisive, don't you think that you are actually being divisive yourself, because you're turning your back on 100 fucking Australians that are standing there doing whatever they hate, tolerating a fucking egotistical asshole like me for the sake of that? When you say on your own, and don't get me wrong, you tell every person you can, usually these people, tell every person not to support a Jody Lowe idea or initiative because I'm divisive, you by default are doing exactly what you fucking say you don't like me for. The only difference is I went to the trouble of organising the rally that 100 people were there, and it could have been 101 had you have cared more about the 100 people than the fucking one that you don't like. And that's where we are. And I'm like, I don't care. I will keep doing what I'm doing. I've been trolled for years. I've been criticised. I've been abused. And you know, someone said at the start of this that, you know, about me and the Robin argument. It didn't end up well for anybody. It was never my intent to, you know, to make her go that bad. But clearly, I work on what they call a ton of straw. If I have someone loses a loved one or someone close, something happens, you know, and they get a ton of weight, a 1 ton block of weight on their shoulders, everybody knows what that ton is. They've lost a loved one or lost their job or lost their house. Everybody wants to pick it up and help move it off their back, right? So ton of straw is when life just keeps banging those straws on, and everyone throws a straw and everyone throws a straw and everyone throws a straw. In the case of Robin, I probably threw a handful of straw. Right, and everybody wants to make out like I had some part in Robin spiraling out. I'm like, fuck off! I threw some straw.
I completely missed that.
It wasn't
worth here and there about what's happened, but like, I mean, you know, when you're a content creator, generally, I'm focused in on what I'm doing, and you know, personally, I try not to upset people. And you know, I mean, obviously, when it comes to, you know, elbow and left hards and trolls and things like that, you know, well, let's have a bit of fun. But you know, people within, you know, the freedom group, or you know, whatever you want to call the new age awakening sort of process, you know, I try to get along with everyone as best I can. And even if I don't agree with the person 100%, and you're never going to agree with anybody 100%, there's always going to be something different. But that's what makes it all unique.
Yeah, I don't. I'm an antagonist. That's what I am.
Yeah.
If I see it,
across the line, and then it's game on.
But I see it, I say it, right? I call it. And the thing that gets me is like, everything I saw for years, I would say, great job, Jody. I'd say, we need more of you. I would say. And then as I cast my vision across the people that were still standing in the same spot, I would start to say, guys, we need to move forward here and we need to do something different. And I'd see them just do another loop. And I'd see them grab hold of a lot of people and do another loop. And then I'd hear the whispers that they're saying, don't listen to Jody. He's going in the wrong direction. Let's do another loop. And so then it started to wear me down. And I'm like, well, this is either nefarious or this is incompetence. And this is exactly the same thing that we're calling out with politicians. So I'm going to watch these people do one more loop, and I'm going to ask them why they're doing a loop, and then I'm going to find out the truth. And sometimes I just found out that there were people that just didn't know, and they liked the relativity of feeling good because they were so lost after COVID and their families had left them, that the more that they spoke to the people and felt like they had some power leading these people around in the loop was okay. All right. I don't go too much after them, but then I would listen to some people, and I was in behind a lot of scenes, and I get a lot of people tell me what's going on behind the scenes, and they would tell me what's really going on, and I'd be like, these people are fucking doing this deliberately, right? And so I would start calling that out, and then I spend most of my time arguing with people who just suffer from cognitive dissonance that are quite happy for me to call out anything but something that upsets them, and I'm like, just take one fucking step further back and have a look at the bigger picture. Because when you realize this shit's been going on for 50, 100, 200, 2,000 fucking years, and this is a bloodline, right? This is a bloodline war. They don't make a lot of mistakes. When you've got that much fucking time to prepare, there's not a lot of mistakes to be made, right? And so, thinking that a bloke came down on the beach today, just walked up, threw my line in. I never even saw where he come from. He just standing beside me. He's like, oh, how you going, mate? How's fishing? And I was like, first time I've thrown in. He's like, oh, gets talking to me. Anyway, next minute we sort of veer off into conspiracies, and he's talking all things conspiracies. And he's like, yeah, and no, I don't think anything was off. But just, he said, man, it's so difficult. How do you know who to trust? I said, don't trust anyone. He goes, really? I said, trust is fucking earned, bro, not given, right? So start with don't trust, and when they earn it, they can keep it. But I said, I don't trust you. And he's like, what? And I said, a random fucking person in Queensland just waltzed up to me and started a conversation that led to conspiracies. You know what I mean? Like, I'm reasonably well known. And I said, so I don't trust you. I said, I have scanned every part of your hand, every part of every ring you're wearing, every necklace, the shirt, your fucking tattoos, since you've been here, to see if I can see anything. And my discernment says, just a normal guy up for a chat. You're a bushy like me that comes, a horse riding bushy like me that just happened to find a friendly bloke to talk about fishing, and we chatted long enough for it to go further than fish. Right? I said, but I do that with everything. I dissect everything, and that might be to my mental detriment, but I want to know who I'm talking to, what is their angle, what is the point, and what is my risk profile, and no risk profile. I mean, it changed when my daughter came running down onto the beach, because then I'm more hyper aware. I go into a bit more of a protective mode. There's a stranger near my child. It's a fucking public beach. It's not like he's, some pedo fucking watching us in a swimsuit. But what I'm saying is that whole profile in my persona changes. I put distance immediately. I didn't even realize I was doing it. I immediately put distance between me and him, and my child was always in between him and where the children were playing behind me. And I was like, just doing it out of habit. So I said, it's not about who you can trust or who you can't trust. You just have to listen to the gatekeepers in particular. You have to listen to the gatekeepers, that I call them, and listen to what they're asking you to do. Right now, there is some people out there that are just giving good, wholehearted information, and that's okay too. But there are other people out there that are telling you that it is something else, someone else's problem that someone else has to do something about, and pretty much all you have to do is be angry, complain, and vote. And that's when I'm like, fucking no good, right? Because I listened to that shit in 2022. I listened to that shit in state elections since then. We've had a Western Australian state election landslide since then. We had the greatest comeback in history for South Australian landslide fucking election, and they got 10% of the fucking seats. And those seats are 8-year seats in the upper house there, so you won't see those seats come up again for fucking 8 years. We've had a federal election last year when the freedom movement was going to come together. It was the worst collective effort of the freedom movements that we've seen. We lost more ground than we've fucking ever had because of the conspiratorial hit pieces, but you'd have to imagine that some of these paid fucking politicians deliberately waited until the month or two when they were going to all preference each other, and then immediately went against each other and split their preferences. And fucking, Albanese actually picked up ground after a piss poor fucking first 3 years. But again, I hate fucking politics, but I spend an enormous amount of time learning politics just so that I can debate with people about politics. Where I went and I did a 1.5 hour live the other day showing the upper house and lower house seats of all state electorates and the upper house and lower house of the federal electorates, with Pauline Hanson obviously being the only person on the fringe that would ever have a chance of maybe having enough seats to have some sway in there. And I showed them. I showed them the immigration numbers in 2022, which were exponentially higher than 23, 24, right? I haven't seen 25s in any form of thing, but 22 was bigger. We had an election in 22. We had an election in 25. Pauline Hanson had no traction. We had a state election in Western Australia, landslide to Labor. We had a state election in Queensland. Labor got thrown out. Liberals came back in. They do not have a seat in the upper or lower house. There's no upper house in Queensland. They don't have a seat at all in the lower house of Queensland state election. They have one seat in the lower house of Western Australia, none in the upper house. The other way around. So they had 0 seats in all of those elections leading up to and beyond the 2025 election, right up until middle of last year, right, where people continue to tell me that, oh no, Pauline Hanson's popular because she's what she says about immigration. I'm like, fucking bullshit. It's a knee-jerk reaction because you're fearful of the fact that brown people shot white people on the beach, and that's what's made it popular. And the moment that fucking fizzles out and people forget about the fear of it, I said that vote will swing back to wherever it came from, which is likely Liberals, and Liberals will come back to be the two-headed snake system. I'm not just saying it to denounce her. What I'm saying is you are watching a fucking movie. They have done this very well for a very long time, and the illusion of having a choice in 2028 to vote your way out of it 18 months before the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, and the UN complete their 2030 agenda. And what you'll see, I believe, is they will start to collapse as they get to the point where they're ready to execute the final parts of the 2030 agenda. They will start to fall off. They will start to lose relevance, and you'll see the technocratic fucking rise of what Trump's Board of Peace is. You see the Board of Peace map, and you see the technocratic state map, which was put in place by Elon Musk's granddad in about 1910. Watch them and overlay them, and near perfect, same laurel reef, same Roman laurel reef encompassing them, but instead of having a Gleason's flat Earth map, it's on a round globe map, and it is coloured in almost perfectly all the way down. So, and that's why you see people clapping for Trump getting rid of $400 million investment into the World Health Organization in his first sort of week or two. But at the same time, he gave $500 billion to the technocratic body of Oracle, which was Larry Ellison and Sam Altman's Stargate sort of, combination. So, that is fucking dangerous times when you see Peter Thiel working in the background, with Palantir into Oracle looking for a full functioning AI tracking of every cell in your body. And, obviously fucking Kushner sitting on the board of making decisions for American politicians at the moment and on the board of peace, fucking wild times.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, even to the extent, I don't know if I agree with the idea that one nation's going to drop off, because it seems like there's a lot of money being pumped into them by, he's like Gina Reinhardt just bought her a fucking airplane. That's one of the big things that the, lefties are jumping up and down about. Every time I see them complain, I'm like, oh, you're just upset that your socialist friends couldn't afford to buy you one, and I'll look at it and go, well, at least I didn't have to pay for that. Gina paid for that. So, I mean, for once a politician's getting around and it's not at my expense. So I don't see a problem here. But, I mean, seeing the amount of support that she's getting, getting over to Trump and, perhaps making some deals while she was over there at Mar-a-Lago, I wouldn't put it past Pauline to actually sort of be pushed into a position where they want her, I mean, I've met the woman. she's generally pretty dedicated. She took my cartoon idea, ran with it, and then decided to never acknowledge that. I'm glad I never gave her all my ideas. That was just a test pilot. And that's just one of my ideas, and look how well it went. So, you know, all I need now is somebody I can fucking trust, and I'll share the rest, you know. But, you know, and it's been said through a few people. I've known a lot of people who have ran for One Nation and found out, much as I did, that, you know, they're not really as good as you'd like them to be. Just like all politicians, they tell you what you want to hear so that they'll get the vote, you know. And to a degree, there's a part of that, you know, what they're saying that is them and what they actually believe in, because, you know, whatever bullshit you're going to tell, you should wrap it in some truth. It makes it a lot easier to sell the concept. So I personally, I kind of think that she probably will actually replace the Liberal Party, and the Liberal Party are kind of sort of reshifting to move into an actual right-wing position, because obviously having two left parties wasn't going to work, and the Liberal Party has certainly gone more left than it is right these days. And you look at their own constitution, where they say they believe in small government and, you know, all the kinds of things that you'd expect from a right-wing sort of apparatus, but they're not acting in that way, in any way, shape or form, you know. So I think that betrayal is pretty strong within those who are not leftists, you know. And I think the Liberal Party's kind of burnt themselves pretty good. It's only diehards that are holding on to them right now. Personally, I think we needed One Nation fucking 30 years ago when it first started, you know, but obviously she didn't have the I guess experience, but unfortunately that experience, in my opinion, has gotten, you know, as she says, politics is a dirty game. And yeah, well, she certainly played it quite well, and I've seen her play that game quite well, particularly in recent times. And like I said, from others who have actually run for One Nation and found themselves getting burned.
Yeah. I just showed the people the stats. One, which you have four of 76, and it's a 6-year vote, the upper house. So the 40 seats of the 76 that went last year is a 6-year position. So they don't come up again. So she's at a 38-2 seat down in that regard before the next 36 come up in the federal election. So she needs to win 36 out of 36 seats in the federal election to hold an even majority. Anything less than a majority, which means that you'll just get straight, which means that you're never going to repeal legislation. And we've already seen in the time we've been waiting for a vote out of this thing, we've seen the new ASIO Act now looking to get voted. We've seen the Digital ID Act pass. We've seen the Social Media Act. We've seen the hate speech bill. We've seen the gun reforms. We've seen the disinformation go close, but turn into other legislation. This is the stuff that we've seen and we've talked about, right? This is that we've seen the Pandemic Preparedness Treaty for the World Health Organization get signed off. We've seen the international health regulation changes of 300 plus are close to getting signed off. You know, you see the Sendai framework from 2016 now start rolling through our United Nations disaster risk reduction plans, through our councils. I mean, we can all sit around with our thumb up our ass and wait for 2028, mid-2028, to have a vote and then hope, like Trump, after 1 year, how much trouble he's had through Congress and opposition and his own country protesting against him, that she's going to be able to roll back the damage that's done in the next 2 years by this Labor Party. When I say waiting for a vote in 2028 is too fucking late, it's nothing to do personally with her, as much as I don't like any of the politicians. What I'm saying to you is we are fucking up to here in water, drowning. And if you want to wait because you think that you can hold on and breathe through your nose in 2028, fucking knock yourselves out. But I promise you will not have a country left or a voice left to say, because it won't be long till I get knocked, right? It won't be long till people that are talking about Zionism and that sort of stuff, calling her out for being a Zionist shill, getting paid for by Zionism, and the same people that are running Trump. You know, Israel got involved. They warned communist Albanese about his Palestinian fucking ties, that there would be a problem in this country if he didn't stop. Boom, false flag. What do you know? It shows up and throws his country into disarray. And then from that, like I said, people will not believe me, but I'm telling you that Pauline Hanson only became relevant off the back of that fucking shooting. That's when the real surge for Pauline Hanson's One Nation came through, because she's always been saying it. Fair enough. It doesn't fucking matter whether it's because she was always saying it. What I'm saying was you had a fallout of the Liberals who are too terrified that they're going to fall foul to it. They moved over to the policies of one nation, and whether or not she keeps that momentum, I don't know. I do know that there is multi-million dollars worth of fucking AI sites getting pushed everywhere with fake information about Pauline Hanson, good and bad. But I also know that when America wants a non-communist dictatorship in a country, they have executed plans over and over and over again to destabilize and overthrow the government that was leading by a democratic possession of a vote, called them a dictator, said it was a communist regime, and have always installed a Western Zion favorable leader. So watch that space with Pauline, because if she gets in there, I'm warning people to be very, very mindful of who fucking puts her there. Because if there's one type of people in this country that you're not allowed to speak badly about, and they're the people that are driving Pauline to be in fucking charge, then be very careful when she says, I'm happy with the Iran war. I don't mind if we put boots on the ground. I'm not concerned about fucking Palestine being a problem because Muslims are fucking, there's not many good ones of them. You know, all of these sorts of rhetoric around that sort of shit, wearing a Zion, Israeli flag. I'm just like, all I'm saying is be very careful, because just like Russia, Russia had a Russian favorable candidate winning the landslide and going to win in a landslide election in Ukraine in 2014. The West got involved. He got fucking thrown out. A Western favorable fucking candidate was put in there, and that led to some of the decisions that made Putin eventually go to fucking war with Ukraine, getting the shit bombed out of them. Yeah. Right? America had a lot to do with the installing of the Colombian leadership. America has now got a Zionist favorable fucking Venezuela fucking leadership, Israeli facing fucking person over there. So, you know, I'm just saying that anywhere that they've been involved, we put 20 years into fucking Afghanistan, including Australian troops on the ground, fucking trillions of dollars, only to leave billions of dollars for the fucking, for the Taliban to rise back up and take back over with regime change. This country could find out the hard way what happens when Israel, through American military, take control of your country's government. I say to you, be very careful what fox we let in the hen house. And that's not to say that it's any better. We've got fucking communist Albanese sitting in there, you know, currently, railing us towards China. But
yeah, Fabian socialists all over, you know.
But this is why. But
every fucking Labor prime minister has been a member of the Fabian Socialist Society, and they're quite open about it. But for some strange reason, the media doesn't report on that. To the extent I've actually sat down with reporters and gone, I don't understand how you can support Fabian socialism when they're going on about Labor, and they're like, what? Like, seriously, they're Fabian socialists. Go and look it up. You know, go and look at the Fabian Socialist Society. They've got a fucking magazine. They release it every fucking week, and you'll find Labor prop politicians on the front cover just about every fucking month. Like, it's not hard. Like, it's basic research. Yet mainstream reporters are incapable of doing such things, you know. And just a mention of something that they don't know. Oh, that must be a conspiracy theory. I don't know about it. Why? Because the politician didn't send you an email telling you about it. What the very people that you shouldn't trust are the ones you're going to trust for your valid source of information. Well done, mate. That's good journalism.
Yeah, and that's it is, and like I said, it's easy to find. And I get ridiculed a lot because a lot of my green screen videos where I point the shit behind me, right? They're Google, so they're like, "Oh, you're a fucking Google fact guy," and I'm like, "No, fuckwit. I don't want to give you the information where I get it from because you'll say it's conspiratorial." So what I do is I give you some Googleable fact, because the first thing a dumb fucking troll's going to do is go and try and prove me wrong, and most of the time they'll just go and Google something that's anti what I said, right? Yeah. And so if I can just get some Google facts to get you at least on the fucking sniffer trail of what I'm doing, if it's Googleable and says that they're in the hole for $1 trillion, imagine what it fucking really is.
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like, and so you know, I'm able to give it. But like I said, I mean, you've got Albanese and all them punching all of the immigration into the country, but they've been punching in greater than the 2.1 rebirth for 50 years now, right? And like I said, there was never really that big of a problem. You know, where we were talking about what do you say? When they were cleaning our fucking toilets, when they were working at 7-Elevens, when they were driving the fucking cabs, you know, when every massage parlor was a Thai fucking person, you know, when they were cleaning, you know, they were doing the house cleaning for you and all those sorts of things when nobody gave a fuck, right? And now all of a sudden there's a driver for it, right? And what was that driver for destabilization? Well, it was an incident, and that incident being that false flag, right? And don't get me wrong, people out there that don't understand what a false flag is, I'm not saying that it didn't happen, not saying that real people didn't die and that it isn't tragic. What I'm saying was a false flag is an orchestrated event by one party who managed to make another party completely and utterly liable for it. And all we've had since then
perhaps
is
just not
hate.
Stop it. You know, and that's the best. The best false flag is to just, well, we know they're going to do it. We'll just let them do it. You know?
That's right.
It's taking advantage of a situation that's already there. Why waste a good crisis?
To have that bald guy, the president of fucking AJAC or whatever he is, to have that bald guy happen to be at the October 7 and survive, take a photo of himself after October 7, and also come over here 2 weeks before to Australia and take a fucking selfie with blood coming off his head and survive. The odds, according to fucking Chat GDP, are 1 in 3.3 fucking billion or something along those lines.
I mean, I have to confess, I've never been shot, but I'm pretty confident the first thing I would be thinking after being shot is not going to be, let's take a selfie of myself in a tragic situation so I can put it on the front page of a newspaper later. You know, generally most people are in a more of a traumatized state generally. I'd be thinking, where's a safe place? Not, hey, quick, I better get a selfie. What the fuck? Like,
I posted a video with it. Wait, let me take a selfie. You know that song? You know, wait, let me take a selfie.
And I can imagine exactly what it's like. I'm somewhere between, you know, it's a child's program and the what is it, the Dancing Frog with the Axel F fucking theme song going, you know.
Well, I made a video. I made a post at the end of last year going, fuck, this is going to be tough trying to work this one out. You've got Trump holding his bleeding ear that God deflected the bullet from. You've got what's her name? Erica Kirk. Charlie's dead. What's that? 100 million? Yeah, sure. I'll be the CEO. And then you had this guy laying there going, oh my God, under fire at Bondi. You know, the selfie with the selfie fucking camera. Like, this is going to be a hard one to work out, which is the best fucking false flag psyop of the fucking year. Like,
they're giving Academy Awards out for these things, some secret dungeon somewhere, you know.
Bro, then you see Pete Headgis the other day get up and read the fucking Samuel L. Jackson fucking Ezekiel fucking 37:17 or some shit. Did you see that?
Yeah, no, I missed that one, but I know the line. I actually watched Pulp Fiction just the other day.
Yeah, so Pulp Fiction, he asked everybody, to all of his military establishment that was in there, all the military leadership that was in there, to bow their head and say the prayer and listen to him while he said the prayer. And instead of saying the Ezekiel fucking 13:37 or whatever it was, instead of saying it in its entirety, he repeated word for word Samuel L. Jackson's version of Pulp Fiction. And they were sitting in the crowd, because those motherfuckers know their scripture, right? And they were sitting in the crowd going like this and then going, looking up at him. Because in the movie, that's where he's got that guy fucking, tied up. And that's when he fucking executes him, an unarmed man fucking.
Well, he wasn't tied up, but he was just sitting there petrified. He may as well have been.
I thought he had handcuffs on.
No. He was eating. They were sitting there eating their dinner and shit. Like, I just watched it just the other day. But it was Ezekiel 25:17, by the way. Just so we get that.
My bad. I'm getting sloppy.
No, that's all right. I watched it just 2 days ago, and I just quickly checked it just to be sure I didn't fuck it up.
Yeah,
myself.
Well, that's what Head gets recited. On the same week that J.D. Vance told the Pope that he should just stick to evangelical matters, and Trump posted a photo of himself as Jesus, and said that thought he was a doctor. So all the MAGA people out there are like, it trusts the plan, 5D chess. it's happening. You know, like just glitching out full
Yeah.
fucking full mode. You know, like out of war, and you know, and we're just sort of, I'm just like, man, fuck me, like it's pretty hard to. I wish I had followers as patient as that, because I've got followers that will literally watch me for 3 years and be like, you know, fuck yeah, Jody, fuck yeah, man, I love what you do, man, tell the truth, keep telling the truth. What'd you say about Trump? Fuck you, I'm fucking not following you, you piece of shit, you don't know shit. And I'm like, fucking hell. It's like watching the Australian.
How people can take sides like that, you know, like you said, it's like, it's not a sporting event. Like, either they're doing the right thing or they're not, you know. And I've never seen a politician ever get it 100% if they even got close to 10. You know,
But how could you get 100% and say it truthfully out loud to a people that can't see past the end of the fucking nose and barely make it from paycheck to paycheck, right? Anything that you would have to actually do. Like, I've got people trying to learn how to do a private members association, and I'm like, have you ever had an ABN? And they're like, no. I'm like, have you had an ACN? And they're like, no. I'm like, so what is it that you think you need to walk this fucking delicate tightrope of getting into a private members association using international fucking UCC type fucking treaties and laws, which are not realistically totally recognized by the system? They're left alone, small loophole. But why would you fuck around with it when you don't even understand how to just have a basic business structure under an ABN, ACN fucking policy? And they're like, because it's private. And I'm like, so you don't pay tax. And I'm like, the chances of you having a business, if you don't actually understand having a business, the chances of you having a business that would require some sort of long form level of writing off tax that wouldn't necessarily be just stripped by rent, you know, power, phone, fuel, car type, you know, basic sorts of write off. I was like, I would suggest that you start with that. And you're like, but you're telling us to get out of the system. Like, I'm fucking telling you, I've had company structures and corporate structures for 20 fucking years. I understand how much I pay for them. I pay $16,000 a fucking year in accountants fucking fees across 5 companies that I've had and run, you know, as I've tried to unwind all that shit, get rid of all the spider webs of fucking depreciated assets, kicking cans down the road, moving money around, right? But this is what I'm saying, is that we've got these politicians that want to tell us about how they're going to fix the problem, and they're voted for by people that don't even know what the problem are, because we continue to talk about fucking net zero, like fucking net zero immigration. And I'm like, okay, how much of our fucking GDP is actually coming in from that extra income that's coming in for our fiat Ponzi scheme at the moment? And what will that look like in a depressionary sense? Where's the fucking facts and figures from? How many are actually coming in at the moment? What do we need? And where does the gap in between it, and how do we transition that? Because if you turn that motherfucker off, we have a house drop like we've just seen in Canada and New Zealand of over 20%, right? A 20% reduction in house prices. Average Australian home at the moment sitting over 1 million for the first time. And that motherfucker in 2 months' time drops to 800,000. We see fucking people jumping off fucking buildings because their fucking debt to loan ratio is through the fucking roof. And they can barely keep up with the payments with the interest rates rising as it is. But if we see joblessness fucking start to fucking skyrocket, you know, because we have all these new services that we've been built and put money into, but then we don't have the people coming in to fucking fill those positions anymore, we're going to see we've already seen recession per capita, but we're going to see depression, right? And then who's going to be screaming for these fucking people? They love to make us scream for things, and as soon as the people start screaming for something that seems to be put on by mainstream media, that's when I get really fucking careful and really watchful and go, calm down, slow fucking down. The mainstream media is calling for this. The mainstream social media gatekeepers are screaming for it. Slow the fuck down. When everybody else runs, we should walk, because we're fucking. That's what they do. They know that there's a depression coming. They know that they fucked up with fiscal and monetary policy. They know they've deliberately printed too much money. We are in big fucking trouble in the country. We're not as bad as the other OECD countries, but if they want it to fail, it would be a great fucking time for it to fail after we stop the immigration. So forever and a day, nobody will ever question the fucking immigration numbers again. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm always just like, just calm fucking down. We should not be getting financial advice or fucking shallow fucking hell and fucking, you know, big chalk. What's this? You know, like fucking, That is not who should be running the finances of the country. I don't like fucking politicians, but I would listen to Gerard Rennick's version of what he thinks is the number or how to manage it or where it sits. I'd listen to him rationally before I'd listen to fucking mainstream social media people saying it's net zero. I'm like, fucking.
Yeah, I found Jared to be one of the most straightforward and clear in conveying what's going on. He explains it very simply, very straightforward, and in a manner that anybody can understand. You know, it's
well, I'm living testament of that.
So
that's what I mean.
I'm very disappointed that he didn't get in. Like, I mean, I know it was a tough, you know, whether him or Malcolm Roberts got in. Personally, I probably would have preferred Jared Rennick. You know, that's my thinking. You know, maybe other people would be a little bit different, but you know, it'd be great to have both as opposed to, you know, some of the shit that we did end up with. But yeah, it is what it is. He doesn't seem like he's going away in a hurry. I mean, again, it'd be good to see George Christensen come back. Like, I mean, he was, you know, our federal dude here for quite some time. You know, I didn't think too much of him until Convid come around and he stood up and stood his ground. I'm like, okay, cool, this dude's not too bad, you know. So had the opportunity to sit down and have a yarn with him on a few occasions, you know, and he was like, again, very calm, very rational, and explain things in a sense that anybody could sort of understand, you know. And to me, that's one of the biggest failings of the mainstream media, is that, you know, these people who have an amazing ability to explain things never get that skill really portrayed with the tiny little bullshit sound bites that you get out of crap mainstream media.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I can empathize with a lot of them, but I also know that it is really easy as a politician that knows that the system is stacked against you. It's really easy to promise people that don't know shit from shit. You can promise them whatever you want to promise them because you know that there's never a chance that you're actually going to have to deliver on any of these promises, right? That's what I said. I can promise free rainbows and unicorn farts for all of your children if you were to elect me into politics.
That was the other good thing about those guys. They never really promised anything. It was more of a case of explaining how things worked. And that's what I really appreciated, you know, more than anything, was the fact that they explained it so you understood it. It wasn't if you vote me in, I'm going to give you this, that, and everything else under the sun, you know, like you hear particularly from your typical mainstream media sort of main party sort of thing. You know, people actually genuinely sit down and go, right, this is how it works and this is why. And a lot of times, you know, that the aides of some of these politicians were just as informative, if not better, you know, because they really knew their shit. They've been in there and amongst the stuff for so long, you know.
But this is my point, right? This is back to where we started this conversation. Was I saw that the amount of people are waking up that do not have basic understanding of how they connect their body spiritually to this world. They are devoid from spiritual connection, from grounding, you know, 2-inch fucking thick rubber boots, concrete fucking floors, out of the sunlight all day long. They have no connection to the 70% of our country living in fucking cities. You know, when we have all this beautiful fucking, I'm sitting on a beach today in a city, it's next to the city of Rockhampton. I think it's a 120,000 people city. Half an hour up the road is the beach town of probably 4,000 or 5,000. You know, probably getting up 6,000 or 7,000 people here now. It's actually probably more than that, but actually, well and truly more than that. It's probably like 20,000 people. But I'm sitting on a beach here today, and just not one person. There's just me and my family on the beach for 5 hours today, and there wasn't a person as far as the eye could see. You know, and I'm like, that's what they, you know, making us believe that everything's just sort of clustered and squashed in, and that there's nowhere to go, and it's all I don't even know what I was saying. Then I lost my fucking point. So what I was saying, like the spiritual side of the things, then the physical side of it, you know, the app to get back outside and just start having a little bit of fun, you know, and engaging with our people through activity rather than just social bullshit of talking shit back and forth all day long, making yourself angry, making yourself sick. Intellectually, like you're saying, just watching people like you with that show just changed my view of everything. Listen to the red flag, right? Just all of the information about the red flag. Like that just sent me down a whole new path of learning for like, fuck me, that's another layer of lies that they've sort of told to us. And then And then financially, right? Just listening to people.
Colette really knew her shit in that video too. Like, I spent a fucking, I think probably about 5 or 6 hours with her. And again, it's one of those things I've come across with like people who are like so into what they're learning, and she's throwing stuff at me. And this year they did this, and this year they did that. Well, okay, cool. Just let her sort of go till she sort of slowed down a bit, retained as much as I could. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to get a pen and paper. Now we're going to put this in chronological order. We're going to run through it in a manner so that people can follow. Because what I hear what you're saying, I see where you're coming from, and I'm pretty good at looking at the spider web. But you know, at the end of the day, let's start with the main strand of the spider web, and let's build it as we go. The way the spider builds it. You know, let's not look at the detail over here and the detail over here and the detail there. Let's build the web. You know, put it together, you know. So that was a very interesting project, and I'm glad you watched that one. I learned a lot, even going in, putting all the imagery together, because I've put another couple of days into getting all the images, getting everything together and researching things. And the shit I found just in, I think 1910, the amount of legislation that got passed there was fucking full on, and a lot of really interesting shit happened, even to the extent that Australia signed international treaties that agreed to tell history in the proper manner. So Western society all made a treaty in 1910 to dictate history to their classes in a uniform manner. And of course, it's worded in a way that makes you think, oh, well, that's very good and very efficient to make sure everybody's on the same page. But it also opens the book up for a lot of pages being torn out simultaneously.
Yeah, that's right. And that's I mean, that's what the Trusted News Initiative is, right? That's the modern day version today, is the Trusted News Initiative, that formation in 2019 of Western media coming together, saying that, you know, every time our mouth is open, no matter where you're watching us in the fucking West, you'll be hearing exactly the same fucking message for the greater good of the people. So there's no misinformation, disinformation, and confusion, right? And that's that's it, right? That's when you really start to realize 1984, you know, would have been better off staying as a fiction book rather than non-fiction. And I do apologize.
Or an instruction manual.
Usually I bring one of my non-alcoholic beers on the show, so I can at least feel like I'm fucking cheering you, mate. But I'm 1 month tomorrow of 3 years without alcohol. So,
well done, man. That's it's an amazing achievement. You know, I've lived sex, drugs, and rock and roll for a long part of my life, and I somehow managed to integrate it into my little routine. Look, it's each to their own. You know, like some work for some people. I've seen some people fucking perform in states that I didn't think were actually humanly possible, but you know, some things work for some people. You know, that's
bro. I was having 24 to 30 beers on a fucking good night out. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't respecting my body. I didn't give up alcohol. I didn't give up alcohol because I've got a problem with alcohol. I gave up alcohol because I had a problem with not listening to what my body was asking for.
Yeah,
that's it. And so I've talked about this a bit, right? I said I don't ask anybody to give up anything. I ask you to listen to what your body is saying. And my body had a problem with anxiety. My body had a very, very bad problem with anxiety and depression. And I was using alcohol only sparingly once a week or whatever to just lose control of everything and not think about anything by just fucking drinking myself completely out of my brain. And then lay around the next day fucking feeling like shit, and then have anxiety for fucking horrible anxiety, worse than the normal, for 2 fucking days afterwards. So I don't ask anybody to give up alcohol. I only ask that if you're using any form of escapism to deny your body what it's really asking for, that you take the time at least to start working towards listening to the fucking thing before the very thing that you say that you are for, which is all for my kids, is taken away from you when you come across a fucking disastrous fucking disease or something along those lines, where you don't get that second chance, right? Because I've been asking everybody, I ask everybody at work, and like, if this was your last week on the planet, right, would you be here? And they're like, fuck no. And I'm like, what about the last month on the planet? And they're like, fuck no. I'm like, what about the last year on the planet? And they're like, oh, probably fucking not. And I'm like, how do you know that it's not your last year on the planet? And they're like, sort of smile at me. And I'm like, time is a fucking currency that we never really know the value or the balance that we have in the bank, yet we spend it so fucking frivolously, man. Yes. And, you know, people, I love the amount of people that are always in the chat. You know, the trolls are always like, why don't you spend some fucking time with your family, you fucking cooker? And I'm like, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. My family sleeps fucking well till 7 o'clock. I've got most of my fucking 2 or 3 hours of fucking posting and answering questions and emailing and running the fucking websites and shit done before they even step out of fucking bed. You know, I got up this morning. I did all of that by 7:30. It was done. I cooked my daughter breakfast, bacon for breakfast when she got up. I'd finished my shit. I went down to the beach. I spent 4 hours down with them down onto the beach. We went out for lunch. You know, I came back in the afternoon, made a couple of videos while she was playing with a fucking friend. And then, you know, we went out for dinner from 5:30 till 8 o'clock or something. I flew home from dinner with them. She's out with 2 friends, and when my daughter's got 2 friends with them, they didn't even notice that I was going. And then the first thing you get here is like the people are like, no, don't spend some fucking time with your family. And I'm like, fucking. You know,
what I find fascinating about that statement, though, is, well, why aren't you? Why are you like you got nothing better to do with your life than to watch me and tell me to go spend time with my family? What the fuck are you doing? Like, come on.
But there's trying to explain that rationally to fucking those people is just madness. Like, my wife posted one of the toxic trolls that was on the other day. Like, one of the most sick fucking people I've ever dealt with in my entire life. Just the sickness inside their head. And I'd talk nicely for a little while, just seeing if I was just testing to see whether I could actually get the person to calm down enough in their mind to rationally sort of have a conversation. And then they'd start rationally, and then they'd be back on the fucking, you're fucking trying to get in my head, you're a fuckwit, fucking, and I'm just like, you know, and you can't, and like, I'm not, and she called me a messiah all the time. And I'm like, I'm not here to fucking save anyone. I could give a rat's fucking arm. The collective output of what this society does in this country will equal what my fucking children and therefore grandchildren will have to fucking tolerate, right? So I'm here doing this for my fucking children, right? And I'm doing it for myself. The list on my Facebook page, if you go to my Facebook page and click the top post, that's what we did as a family for the last 5 years. You click the second post, that's what we're doing for the next fucking 5 years. That's as simple as my life needs to be. And all I've done, instead of just doing it, I've done it with a fucking camera in front of myself and filmed me doing it so others might find remedy in that which I'm doing the hard yards fucking for. And if you don't like it, it's free. Fuck off. Like, like I had a business, like, you know, I'm supposed to be just trying to start this business with the wow factor at Earth and that sort of stuff. You know, it's a subscription-based model. Eventually, it might make money, but in the non-profit of the Private Members Association. And I send out this massive letter the other day, huge, all this detail, every layer of this broken down, all the links and all that sort of stuff. And this bloke comes back and says, so I take it that means that you're going to try and charge me $1 for this information. Is that what you're saying? Like, be frank with me. Be honest. Don't tell me bullshit. Is that what you're trying to do? You're going to try and charge me for freedom stuff? And I was like, unfortunately, mate, I'm not going to be able to give you any help or advice. And we've had a look at what the questions that you've asked and decided that it's better for you to just move on and go and find something else to do because we aren't for you. And he's like, yeah, just as I fucking thought, you'd fucking try to fucking charge me for fucking, and you're not even guaranteed that I'll be free from the system afterwards, and fucking, you know, just came back with
fucking $1. It's $1.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I signed up because I said, $1, fuck, you know. I mean, Struth, if you can buy a beer or a fucking coffee or, you know, $1.
Well, the worst part,
can you even get a pack of gum for $1 now? Well, I mean,
the worst part about the $1 is because we've got to use Stripe, the payment thing in the background. It takes 35 cents of every transaction.
Oh shit!
So we get 65 cents from your fucking $1.
Oh wow!
And
don't spend it all at once, all right?
Yeah, for my $12,000 website. The good news is We only have to have about 17,000 members for me to break even. Fucking, follow me on the finance section 101 for more tips on how to waste all your money on a bunch of fucking cookers. Like I don't give a fuck, man. I know for a fact that there's so many people that reached out to me during this journey that listen to me and watch me give speeches on mental health. They've, seen, a great big tubby meathead alpha like myself be quite proudly able to talk about my mental health issues, my failings, and what I've done and how I'm trying to be there and be present vigilantly for my family, for my daughters, and keep fighting against the system for people that don't have the voice or the privilege or the time that I do. And I'll take that to the grave knowing that I did everything I could, because my daughter at 8 years old, she sees that. She sees that and respects that. She loves me unconditionally for who I am, what I do with her, and how much fun she has in my life. And the small pocket of the windows that people get to look through to see us in the social media world, that you think that is some form of representation of how I live my life, have no fucking idea. How good my life is, and if I turned this off tomorrow, financially, I would be fucking exponentially better off than what I am from spending the amount of time that I do making the content for you for free, so that so that you can fucking whinge over a $1 fucking subscription membership for a $12,000 fucking webpage. And yes, T2, fuck them all. I really do wake up some days and say fuck them all. But the problem is that the 2%, the two fuckwits, real fuckwits in every 100, dictate the way that I feel about the 100, and that shouldn't be the way it is, right? Because the 98 are silent and watching or doing or enjoying. They are usually silent. I had a sign over the front of my restaurant up in North Queensland that said as they left, if you had a shit meal, please tell us. If you had a great meal, please tell everyone, right? Yeah. Because it's usually the other way around. People that have good meals tell one person, maybe two people. People have a bad meal will tell the fucking mailman when he pulls up to drop a letter in, that run out to the mailbox, or the wheelie bin man. Excuse me, have you ever been to Casra's Tavern? What? Yeah, it's fucking shit. Potatoes were cold and lumpy. Righto, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. I needed to know that.
Thanks, mate. And then you'll go back and say, hey, mate, are you saying you're going to Casra's? I heard the other day from some bloke that yelled out to me that they're fucking food shit. They'll tell someone and they didn't even fucking go there. You know what I mean? Like, but that's the way this, that's the way this shit works too. It's just like fucking, I don't get paid. I don't have to worry about losing followers. I've lost more followers than you, than half the freedom movement combined has fucking got, just from telling it my way. And if that's arrogant, if that's arrogant or whatever, then fucking so be it, man. I'm doing what I can,
man. Like, I do the same thing. I don't even check to see how many views things get most of the time. I don't care. I don't go back and watch shit. It's like, when it's done, it's done. It's the experience. I enjoy just having a good yarn and a couple of beers, and knowing that we're here at the pub, kind of doing our thing, and making sure things pass the pub test, so to speak. That's to me what it's all about. I'm not in it for the popularity. I don't give a shit if people want to stroke my ego or call me a cunt. I've experienced it all before. It's not going to fucking change. I
don't need to be on social media for people to think I'm an arrogant cunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Just come work with me.
Exactly. I work in the mainstream media. Do you think I got along with anyone? Fucking hell.
I work in underground mining.
I'm sitting there dying not to laugh at people, because I listen to them talk about the most pointless fucking shit, and I'm sitting here thinking, wow, like the most important thing to you right now was that you got a donut from a shop down the road. Really? Like, of all the things we could talk about, you want to talk about fucking some shitty fucking... I can't even think of the name of it. What's that glazed fucking horrible donut fucking joint? That Yankee fucking thing they set up. It's just in the airport at Brisbane.
Dunkin' Donuts?
That's what I'm thinking, but it's not the right name. It's something else. But it's fucking... I remember I bit into one once and spat it out. It was just fucking putrid. The most horrifically sugary fucking garbage, and people continuously rave about that sort of shit, you know. And I'm like, and again, you know, like, I think I was at a job site the other day, and you know, one of the conversations was, "Oh, what's your favorite Adam Sandler movie?" I'm like, he's really not that funny. I mean, if I want to be yelled at, I'll put fucking heavy metal on. You know, I don't see that slapstick humor as humorous. It's just like, seriously, they're insulting your intelligence. What's funny about this? You know? But,
yeah, that's yeah. Well, that's what I like. I said, I look after coal miners, and I said for the most part, we don't wear gum boots because it's wet underground. It's just because it's fucking easier than have to watch them do laces every day. And you know, like
Krispy Kreme. That's it. Thank you, Nick.
Krispy Kreme. So yeah,
that's exactly it.
Someone just said it today. I only just heard that name not long ago. But yeah, I'm not saying that. Well, I used to say to the coordinators, I'd say, because I had 7 or 8 coordinators under me at one stage, and there was about 23 supervisors. So I used to look after all of the coordinators and supervisors that were under me, and I'd say to them, don't ever fucking let your feet leave the ground, floating off into the world where you believe that you're so fucking incredible because you've got this new position. You are here based on the ability of the people below you. And that fucking, and that is what you need to remember, that quite often that, you know, being in charge of fucking, you know, of people who fucking need gumboots instead of fucking boots doesn't mean that you're a fucking rocket scientist. You know, so yeah. I'm, you know, I'm not fucking smarter than anybody, you know, in particular. I just know how to do my thing a little bit better than fucking other people, right? You know.
And again, like the basis of what is intelligence is very subjective. You know, I mean, you take some of them CEOs, give them a shovel, all right, go dig a hole, cunt. You know, most of them couldn't fucking do it.
Well, that's what they did, though, didn't they?
And as Einstein said, if you're going to judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, then, you know, it's not going to get far, is it? You got to work to what you're good at. And again, the socialist indoctrination system, aka the school system, doesn't fucking exactly cater to the average person, to the extent that even Einstein said, fuck it was shit. He couldn't fucking function in that environment because it is designed to keep you in a pigeonhole. It's designed to keep you in a box. You can't think outside of that, you know, and succeed. But the greatest thinkers are never good at school. I mean, even fucking Bill Gates, everybody hates the guy, and anybody with a brain anyway, you know, but he said the same. I've seen him doing a high school thing too. He's gone, yeah, they've got me talking to you at the end of your university because if I spoke to you at the beginning, you wouldn't have fucking continued.
Yeah.
You don't learn anything at those places other than how to follow orders.
No, and there's, if you look at the percentages of people that are not working in their of their qualifications field, it tells you that we shouldn't be paying anything towards their education if they're not going to be able to use it when they get out.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're talking about public servants and voting for Labor and that sort of stuff before. We have over 15% of our workforce is now public servant. We've seen a 50% federal increase since COVID in public servants and a 20% state increase in public servants. We've seen NDIS go from 400,000 during COVID now up to 800,000 people, so greater than 100% increase in NDIS. We've got 4 million people identified as disabled in the country now. Of a country of 27 million, 4 million have a disability. And that looks like translating over as they start to apply for NDIS, moving into the monetary system of the socialist fucking network. You know, then you punch out a couple of million fucking immigrants over the last 3 or 4 years, and they primarily push them into blue suburbs. You know, they put all the housing fucking funds into blue suburbs to punch them all into there. You're talking about a nation that's never going to say fucking no to the government. they're not able to. They can't say no to the government if they work directly for the government, or the fucking government funds their entire lifestyle on NDIS, Medicare, fucking family, fucking tax assistance, fucking, all that sort of shit that they've got. That's the whole point of socialism, to the point where you can't live without the government. Then, you're out working.
We've definitely seen that during COVID 1984, where I was talking to teachers who come from the private school sector, and they're like, we're private school. Why are we following government mandates? Oh, because we get a lot of kickbacks still. So we lose that government money if we don't follow the rules. And it's like, there you go. Welcome to socialism.
Yeah, I thought they must have mandated kids to get vaccinations before they went to school, because I never took any notice. My kids, when they were younger, did get the vaccinations, because I was just a full fucking NPC robot for that sort of shit. I was just like, the government said it's good for you. The health system said it's good for you. So they did. They all got it, right? And then it wasn't until I started asking questions of like, well, do they have to have vaccinations to go to school? Because we were trying to work out what we were going to do with Indiana. And they're like, no, you don't have to. And I was like, that's interesting that they haven't got it wrapped up. Then we realized that the daycare center, the kindergarten and the daycares don't give you your rebate unless they're vaccinated prior to school. So you can, two women living side by side on the same incomes can go to the same daycare fucking center, kindergarten center, and this one's not vaccinated, this one is. This one gets like $300 off that service, this one doesn't. And so right there, financially, fucking two people, so it should be equitable in this country, fucking get a complete disadvantage because of a medical fucking coercion into jabbing your fucking children. And I was like, fuck me, that is embarrassing. That is fucking embarrassing for human fucking rights, for equality in this country, that you can no longer, but you've got the choice. It's always that choice, right? Yeah, you've got the choice. You can have the
freedom
fucking
and liberty for all.
You can have the whip, or you can have the fucking stick. Like, you've still got a choice. Which one is it? The whip or the stick? Like, I'm like, fuck. Bro, look, I'm gonna have to wrap it up soon. My family's just getting home.
You're all right, mate. Well, we've had a wonderful yarn, but we kind of got a bit off topic as far as the website goes. So let's just do a quick little wrap up of what's the motivation for people to jump on board. Obviously, it only costs a whole fucking $1. I know we're all hard up for $1, but truth, come on, you can't even buy a packet of gum for $1 as far as I'm aware.
Mate, I just want inside that working on wellness factor to build to build the website where there's a directory of exchanges that you can take place between members who've got anti sort of Western sort of shit. So we're not just going to the doctor to get tablets and medication and stuff. Anything that you believe is holistically good under the spiritual, physical, intellectual, financial, and emotional. It can be, if you're a presenter that has remedy or knowledge that you love to present in the terms under those conditions, so if you're a kinesiologist, if you're a fucking Reiki master, if you're a massage therapist, whatever you are in one of those fields, jump in and present your services, present what you're passionate about inside that event calendar. The goal for that is to have people actually be able to dedicate and choose in their time of where and when they're going to learn, so they can get themselves into a state where they are calm and able to listen and actually retain that information to be the change that they want to see, right? And get off the scroll of social media. You can still go back over there and have a look, but if you look at that website first for what it is that you're going to plan to do for your day, to make sure you hit that target first, be accountable, self-governing, right, and start to change your knowledge and information that way, then you're going to see a much better result than just opening up your standard TikTok scroll, your standard Reels, TikTok, all that sort of shit. And before you know it, half an hour is gone, and you know nothing more about your rights. You're just angrier or more scared of what is coming down the pipeline. And I promise you, the only way that we're going to get out of this, particularly even if you want to vote your way out of it, spend the next 2 years, instead of spending the next 2 years arguing over who you're going to vote for, spend the next 2 years understanding what it is about Constitution, common law, your rights, fucking financial education of this country, right? so that when you listen to a political person's spiel, they're not just giving you some popular politics bullshit, because you'll actually start to understand what it is that's feasible, what it is that's promisable, and what it is that needs a cost-risk analysis, rather than just them saying, we'll make the environment better. Well, is $32 million per wind tower, when you've got 1,000 of them planned, better? Does the gas network that has to be built beside that windmill farm to guarantee stable power, is that better? Does the 140 million tonne of coal that has continued to be mined and sent overseas since we've reduced our power network from 75% to 45% reliability on thermal coal, is that better for the environment, or is it just better for the foreign fucking entities' pockets? These are the questions that, as you learn these things, which is what we're trying to do in that education centre, but also to teach balance and wellness, to be able to deal with the emotional trauma of finding out that the whole system is fucked, dealing with your family and your friends that turn their back on you when you start talking about these things, spiritually getting back to connecting to the ground rather than connecting to your fucking god of the internet, staring at your fucking phone all day long. And, physically, if we could capitalize the drug, the chemical that your body makes when you exercise, if we could put that motherfucker into a capsule, you would buy it off the shelf like toilet rolls at fucking COVID, right? But because you don't see it happening inside you, because you've been trained that everything good has to come from a tablet, if we could take it out of you in a tablet and give it back to you, you would never realize how good you feel when you just get involved with a little bit of physical activity. So May 8, Mate Day, we set the tone to start to reconnect people through short sporting activities. That is averageaf.com. That's the app. You'll find the links there for the app. The app is free. And eventually, if we get the community inside that PMA up and running, once we get that up and running and we start getting the membership for the non-profit, non-government, unincorporated private members association, that money will start funneling back into prizes and stuff like that to make the app, worth fun. Yep, that's it, mate. Yep.
Yeah, nice, cool.
So that's the.
Just grab that.
It's a lot to keep up with, man. Everybody's like, fucking 3 websites, bro, and I'm like, yeah, I know, man, but like, that's just the world. It's the world that we live in. I'm sure you've got 27 fucking apps on your home screen of your phone that you don't even fucking remember when you downloaded it. So what's the difference?
I'm pretty vigilant with that sort of shit. I'm rather tech savvy, so I've been ripping computers apart since I was a kid. So these it makes sense to me. But I understand that it doesn't make sense for a lot of people. As being that tech savvy, I find myself constantly fixing everything up for other people. So by all means, email me, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like a link to some of this stuff, or a little bit of a leg up on how it works and what we can do with it. So it is all groundwork stuff, but as we get in there, let's figure it all out. And as I signed up the other day, the first thing I did, okay, cool, something's not working, Jody, here you go, mate, this is what happened, this is what come across it, and you're straight onto it. So if you find a problem, just let us know. Let Jody know that there's a problem, and he'll get right onto it, and we'll fix it. It's all part of that teething stage sort of thing.
Well, we're sport too, right? We anything that's popular, by the time we get our hands on it here in Australia, it's had fucking 742 versions, and 400 versions of that were proper beta testers paid to make sure that they line out every glitch. I did the fucking 6 days of beta testing on myself for that website all day, every day, in there, out of there, trying to find every single fucking functional glitch that I could. And we fixed a hell of a lot of shit in the first 3 weeks of doing that, but we don't want to do it at the expense of the people that are coming in there. That's why we put 3 months free on the subscription part of the sites. The whole main site is free, but anything that's got the subscription on it, we put 3 months free on that. And any of the remedy groups out there that are actually, publicly offering 101 services to teach Constitution, common law, Magna Carta, all of the shit that we work on, they've got a 6-month code in there too, so that we can make sure we can offer as much value as possible inside of those communities. But you might just want to go to the Bush Life Balance and take part in the Community Garden Network. You might just want to be the sporting app stuff. You might want to do My wife does a lot of energy work, and she trains people with energy work and that sort of stuff. But you might just want to go directly to the Commonwealth Custodians, the Warriors at Law, to the Living Council, to the Terror Australian State Nationals, to Live Life .onlines, to the Anti-Corruption Academy, to the Corruption Whistleblower. I don't really care where you go, whether you go to them direct, as long as you're spending time learning and educating yourself to be the better version and the change that we want to see, and doing it in such a way that your heart is the center of what you do, so that you don't become that which you fucking hate and we are fighting against, because that's what the real risk is here, is that you burn yourself out to the point where you either can't fight anymore, or you're only still fighting in anger. And then by the time you're finished, you don't even fucking know who you are anymore. And that's where I was a couple of years back. So be the change you want to see, mate.
Exactly. Having trained quite a bit in martial arts, it's one of those things. You got to have that strategy. You don't want to fucking burn yourself out. You want to make sure you're fit and ready to rock when you're going into battle, because I remember a long time ago, probably one of the fittest guys in martial arts, and he was like, I'm still not fit enough. I'm still not fit enough. And he's just running, constantly training. And like, I'd love going in and doing morning sessions with that dude, because he'd fucking push you hard. You'd really get a good fucking cardio workout and whatnot. And you fucking needed it. You really need it. And just that, yeah. You've got to know, when you're going into battle, you've got to have your tools. And again, another lesson from the martial arts thing, having that martial arts toolkit, that you can never have enough styles in that martial arts toolkit. And the same thing here in the freedom sort of mentality. You can never have enough, law. You can never have enough constitution. You can never have enough spirituality, physical health. There's so many things that you can put into your own personal freedom handbook there, to have you prepared for the next battle that we know is coming. Because I think, as I was saying to a friend the other day, we know what their end game is. They've openly declared that they want complete and utter control of you, mind, body, and soul. So you need all the shields and armor that you can muster up for these coming days.
It's a war for your soul, bro. That's right. Like, I don't even really go down too far into the shit, man. I try and keep people. I'm just trying to sort the wheat from the chaff for people that are willing to look beyond the fucking 3D shit that's in front of us, right? When you actually start going inwards and start realizing just how long and deep this fucking war goes, man. It's fucking exponentially bigger than anything you can describe out here fucking for voting. And that is the biggest thing for me, when I'm like, fuck, man, if I'm still here arguing with vote and you've got no chance of fucking catching up to where we are with the shit that we're working on in the fucking in the inside of the fucking meat suit, man, because that's something, some wild shit going on. But we'll leave it for there, man. I really do appreciate your time, and thank you for getting me on to talk about this shit. It's important to me.
Worries,
and win, lose, or draw, I think it's either the start of a new journey for me or the end of an old road. Either way, I will learn and grow from all of the experiences of what I've been doing and building. So, and meeting some wonderful people on the road too, man. So
awesome, mate. Always welcome. Thank you heaps for coming on. Just let me know when you want to give us an update on what's going on, and we'll go from there. But yeah, always a pleasure.
Next time we'll be in person, mate. We'll come up and do one in person.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Hey, you're an Emerald, right?
I'm an Emerald, yeah.
Yeah,
but
cool.
I've been up towns away for a while. I've got some really good friends up there, so we'll come up and we'll do a face to face. Love to meet you. Say hello.
Sure. Yeah, it'd be great, man. It'd be great. So, all right. Well, big sips for you, brother, and to all the wonderful people who have been watching. Thank you all very much, and I'll see the rest of you Sunday. I reckon. I feel it's been a while since I've done a Sunday, so let's do a Sunday. So,
good stuff, mate. Good job, mate. Keep it, mate. See you, mate. Bye.